Hello everyone, welcome to the Evil Empire. I'm your host, Evil Empire, and this week's feature is Ultimatum. So this is a standard deck that has been ported to Historic with a few notable additions. So we'll go over those in just a moment, but I do want to take a moment to thank Arjuna Perkins very much for the work that he's done on this deck. He, of course, of the famous Arena Craft podcast with Coverco Blue, and he was really pioneering this deck even before the release of Kaldheim, when the deck became very popular. And just a shout out to him, of course, for doing a great job picking out a very powerful archetype. Although, of course, he later went on to not want to play it at all because it became extremely popular and was something of a called shot. But when we look at the deck in Historic, it picks up a few different things. Notably, the ramp cards are a little bit better in Historic. So Growth Spiral, 2-mana ramp, instant speed. Explore, 2-mana ramp, sorcery speed. And Wolf Willow Haven, also sorcery speed. So that really rounds out the 2-mana ramp package. And then in the 3-drop slot, just a pair of Cultivate is all. And then running 4 Sultai Division. And then Migration Path, this list has only Shadow's Verdict, no Extinction Event. And then the sort of good stuff package, if you will, the power package of the deck, comes in the form of these different green creatures and this one green spell, as well as Alrund's Epiphany, Vorinclex, and Liliana. So this list was belonging to Ian Burrell, who was playing in the Kaldheim Championship, the recent Pro Tour level event that occurred the weekend before this one, I believe. And so the deck list that he brought to the tournament here, I thought was a really tight 60-card version of Emergent Ultimatum. There is also a Yorion version that I'm going to take a look at with you very briefly in just a moment, because we're also going to play one game at the end with the Yorion version, the 80-card version of Sultai Ultimatum. But one thing that I think is particularly notable about this particular deck, it does have the one-turn kill. So if you go for Craterhoof, Hornet Queen, and maybe one other thing, like let's say an Alrund's Epiphany, they don't give you they put the Allruns back in your deck. Well, then you just get Hornet Queen, Craterhoof for lethal. That could sort of be a mistake on the opponent's part, right? But like still, if they're just putting Craterhoof back, giving us Hornet Queen, then we get to attack with all that, all those little nibblers and the Hornet Queen. So that's pretty nice, along with the pair of birds that we make off of the Allruns, and we get an extra turn. So it's pretty dope. And then another thing you can do is do the Vorinclex thing. So Vorinclex, search that up with Emergent Ultimatum, and then Liliana, along with Alrund's Epiphany. So minimum, you get to activate Liliana a couple times, make a couple of zombies and a couple of bird tokens, and kind of stabilize the board if they don't give you the Vorinclex. So pretty sweet deck, and one that is sort of a 60-card version that really tightly accomplishes the task of getting to Emergent Ultimatum, and then going to grab one of your gigantic spells that you want to cast, whether that be a Plane-Wide Celebration to gain a bunch of life, or you can just grab, like I said, the sort of the beaters like Craterhoof or Endray's Forerunners, and they do a good job of choosing on the first ultimatum. Well, what if you resolve a second ultimatum, and then at that point it's pretty much over, is my experience with it. They may be able to survive one ultimatum, but there's no way if you resolve a second one they could ever survive that. So that pretty much is the deck. We've got Sultai mana in the mana base, and you can take a look at that. It's pretty standard, just a mix of triomes and shocks and check lands. That's pretty much the 60-card version, so let's take a moment now to look at the 80-card version as well. We'll just briefly check in with that. And I'm back. This time it's Sultai Sky Noodle. And this version has the full package of Emergent Ultimatum, along with Binding the Old Gods. And this type of thing, really just all we're doing as we move it up to 80 cards, giving ourselves a bunch more redundancy and maybe in some places a few more options. So one thing that's notable right from the top, Pactive Negation Supreme Will. This version of the deck is packing some amount of main deck permission, which I find to be really useful in the best of one format and really takes advantage of the fact that you have 80 cards to go into all of that. It is similarly running a few different things that are not present in the 60 card version. To Eliminate, to Omen of the Sea, to Heartless Act, 1 Valky. Then we get to pretty much the same ramp package here, minus we're not running any of the Growth Spiral here, just the mana being a little bit too clunky for that at the 80 card level. So still running some amount of 2 mana ramp, but getting a little bit more toward the 4 mana ramp side of things with the migration path here, which is nice. It also cycles if you happen to have it where you already have enough land and you just need to cycle to get to Emergent Ultimatum. That's a really nice feature that migration path brings to the party. This version, of course, not just running the 4 Shadows Verdict, also the 2 Extinction event, which of course now you have room for as your 80 cards. 2 Narset and a single Nissa to be able to search with Ultimatum. That's really nice paired with Vorinclex if you get to ult Nissa right away. Let's say, for example, they mistake and they accidentally put the Liliana back. They give you Vorinclex, they give you Nissa. You have to order the triggers correctly, as you will see in the video. That's something that I also need to work on, is ordering triggers correctly when you're resolving Emergent Ultimatum, and then resolving the spell correctly. So that also is paired up with a couple of Alrund's Epiphany is another thing you can grab. If you have a Narset on the board, then maybe you want to grab Commit Memory, and you can't cast the commit. You can only cast the commit side of it because memory you have to do from the graveyard. But let's say you want to cast commit because there's a problem permanent, and you were just saying okay, well then that'll go to the graveyard once it resolves from Emergent Ultimatum. Then next turn just cast memory because you've dealt with problem permanent. And that sort of thing can be really powerful against, if you have Narset resolved against a control deck, that's already a huge blow. And then let's say you're going to do a memory against them while you have Narset out, it's just lights out. So that kind of thing, you can actually fetch the commit memory. Now just remember, when you're casting it with Emergent Ultimatum, you're going to have to use the commit side. Aftermath only resolves in the graveyard, so it's just something you have to plan ahead for. But mostly I find that this list, which had a record of 8-1 from an MTG Melee tournament, was a really tight 80 card version and had a bunch of really excellent qualities to it. The mana was good. The 1 of Ketria Triome, to be able to cast Valky, you can search up that Ketria Triome because it's a forest with Binding the Old Gods. Binding the Old Gods is a sweet blink target with Yorion. There's just so much to like about this deck, and I think really my personal preference is for the 80 card version, although I'll play the majority of the games here with the 60 card version, the list by Ian Burrell from the Pro Tour. But nonetheless, I thought this was notable, and we just want to sneak one in at the end. This list with the permission, the different things that it's doing from the 60 card version is also a notable addition to the historic format. So this port from Standard has really made waves, and now we're going to take a look at it in the historic ranked queue. Alright, this hand is very keepable. It's got some ramp and some more ramp. Ramping into ramp. Seems good. Opponent plays Savai Triumph tapped. I'm going to play Overgrown Tomb tapped. The opponent plays Thoughtseize, target me. Opponent takes the Growth Spiral. Okay. Seems good for them. And pay the life for Blood Crypt. Why? Oh, the next Thoughtseize is why. Well, that feels bad. Takes the migration path. We draw migration path. So play forest, play Wolflow Haven, target the forest. Now it's worth 2 forests. Pay the life for Breeding Pool. Get the migration path going. Alright, opponent. 3 mana. 4 mana. Pass. Pay the life. And play Liliana. I think is the play here. Unless they have like cast out or something, I don't think they have any instant speed reaction to this. Yeah, stay on 4 mana, pass the turn. Alright, just keep plusing Lily. I mean, seems fine, right? Gonna cycle the Triome here. Just nothing else to do with the mana. Okay, Growth Spiral, sure. Put the Breeding Pool into play because it's the one they know about. Play the Watery Grave tapped and pass the turn. Alright, opponent, what you got? Opponent's got Mind Stone. Cycle it. Just 3 mana, cycle Mind Stone, and that's the pass the turn, no land. Opponent gives up. Makes sense, not hitting lands. Yeah, this hand seems fine. We'll just ramp into something good. Get Vorinclex going, see what they say to Vorinclex. Alright, looks like mono red. So, Overgrown Tomb tapped. Pass back to them. The opponent plays Ramanop Ruins, Thermo Alchemist. Alright, Cultivate. Swamp. Well, Forest and something. Forest and Swamp, yeah. Sure. So, have the Shadow's Verdict mana ready. Yeah. Oh, come on, really? Chandra's Incinerator? That's not good. That does not feel very good. What's the play here? Alright, do Cultivate. Just want to get to like the Emergent Ultimatum mana next turn. I mean, it's tempting to Shadow's Verdict, but just one thing. Shadow's Verdict, just one thing feels so bad. They are going to get me with that Thermo Alchemist for so many damage next turn, though. I just wish that I could use the Shadow's Verdict against it, but it just feels too bad to use it on one creature only. Oh, there was another one on top of my deck. I should have used it. Oh, man. Yeah. Now I'm just going to get wrecked by Thermo Alchemist and burn. Yeah, so Chandra's Incinerator costs like nothing. Okay, I'm in some trouble here. And Shadow's Verdict does not get me out of it because it does not get the Incinerator. Alright, get Alruns, get Liliana, maybe. Plane wide, Alruns. And maybe the Hornet Queen. See if we can't death touch that Incinerator. I don't know. Maybe that wasn't the right pick. Maybe I should have gotten a Liliana and like a something else that can just kill stuff. Alright, so gain a bunch of life with... Make some citizens and gain some life with plane wide. Just make one citizen and just gain a bunch of life. Oh boy. Yeah, now they're gonna get us with the ability on the incinerator. Oh boy, yeah. Now they start picking off the little nibblers with their little thermo alchemist hits. They will pick off our little nibblers with them. But the nibblers, oh, there go the nibblers. Bye bye nibblers. Oh god, that was a really good chain whirler. That was a really good chain whirler. Can they get this? If I put this out there, can they get this? Oh, another ultimatum, come on. Just want to live through this one turn. Just want to resolve this one more ultimatum, please. Oh no, I'm so dead next turn. Oh, are they gonna get it now? Okay, good. I thought they were gonna get it now. Oh no! Don't get my Vorinclex. I need this. I need this Vorinclex to live. You don't understand. Oh lord, here we go. Yep, and that goes into Vorinclex. And whatever burn you have in your hand goes into Vorinclex. Oh man, just getting nickeled and dimed. Nope, I'm just gonna block because whatever. Just want to try to live here. Nope, can't even do that right. Ugh, this is the trample. The trample got me there. And they have another incinerator because why not? Ugh, lordy. There's not even anything I can get here. Get like some random stuff. Some Crater Hoof. Some Liliana. Some Epiphany. What are they going to give me? Put back the Alrons. Get the General. Get the Crater Hoof. Not enough to matter at all. Just sack it. Sack everything. Yeah, this game's over. See you later. Alright, back down to nothing. The all-cylinder vision hand. Sure. Let's keep it. It's got some land. It's got some green mana. It's got some blue mana. We'll figure out the black mana later. Ramp with something. I'm going to take the Cultivate. Should take the Cultivate, I think. The Growth Spiral? Okay. So that means we're going to Wolf Willowhaven. Wolf Willowhaven. That land, that Sultai Isle up. Alright, looks like we're playing Racksack. Alright, so Cultivate. They're going to flash back their Thoughtseize with the Dreadhorde Arcanist. That's fine. Alright, play out Sultai Isle. So they can't take that at least, which they're not gonna, but... Yep. Flashback the Thoughtseize. Take what? The Vorinclex? Take the Vorinclex, yeah. Okay. What are they going to do with their mana for this turn? Just buy Luris? What do they have? Nothing? Just have stone nothing in hand. So I'm going to foretell that. Draw with the Explore. Just cycle this. Just use the mana this turn. That comes in tapped. What do you have, opponent? Wow, just Luris, huh? Must have like a bunch of creature removal in hand or something. Sweet. Alright, that's exactly what we wanted. So, cast Emergent Ultimatum and get what? Well, Liliana, because they have two creatures. Alrund's Epiphany and Shadow's Verdict. I mean, I want to get the big pig, but I'm going to do the right thing here. So whatever happens, those two are gone. Let's see what they put back. Put back the Liliana? Okay, fine. Okay. Yeah, I ordered this incorrectly. I'm going to exile my own birdies. they're going to draw with village rights, but it doesn't matter because Verdict gets the graveyard. There can be no Call of the Death Dweller nonsense, no Agadeem's Awakening nonsense. Alright, do this one from earlier. Use this to go look for Emergent Ultimatum. Yeah, okay, just get a cantrip instead. Okay, play that out. No reason to hold lands. I don't have anything that like draws or discards or anything like that. Supplier. That's concerning. Okay, mills some stuff. Gets back the Pyro. Plays it with Fame. So hit me for 4 with the Pyro. Alright, and then pass. So Zagoth, cycle it. Shadow's Verdict. Okay, so attack first. Hit them for a pair. Exile everything. Opponent. Archfiending. Zagoth Triumph, cycle it. Boy, okay, feels bad. Wish I had a castle, something to put mana into. Some kind of mana sink would be pretty dope here. Hornet Queen, sure. Yeah, I got some nibblers. Opponent does not want to face the nibblers. Nibbler's too strong. Nibbler's very strong. Alright, take a look at this hand. Yeah, why not? Let's just do it. YOLO. This is a YOLO keep. We just need like one more piece of ramp. And maybe 2 would be ideal, but take 1. Okay, that's not ramp. Okay, so I'm going to use the Wolfwillow Haven to enchant the Watery Grave. So that'll now tap for an extra green. Opponent on some kind of Dimir nonsense. That's not good. Counterspells. I don't like counterspells in this deck. Let's get an Epiphany, I think, or maybe another Vision. Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, just draw go. It feels bad. Feels like it's pretty bad for me. Get a little ramp spell. Get a little growth spiral. Pay the life for the breeding pool so I can growth spiral. Then we got something up. Just cling to dust on Cylind Vision. Okay, seems legit. Put this forest down. Opponent got something? No. Just Mind Stone activation was what was holding up. Alright, well there's that second blue that we didn't want them to have. So I guess I'll just try to resolve this and see what happens. Okay, they're going to let it resolve. I guess they're saving their counter for Emergent Ultimatum. Gonna attack first before I try to resolve the ultimatum. Are they gonna... No. You don't think they're gonna tap out, do you? Oh. They're gonna tap out. No way. Oh, do you think they're holding counter magic and they tapped out? Do you think? You think they're like, oh, they don't have emergent, they cast the... I do have it. I just convinced you that you should tap out. Ooh, okay, get Liliana. Get Vorinclex. Get one other thing. Big Beater or the Hornet Queen? Maybe a plain wide. No, I don't have anything in graveyard though, do I? No, nothing good in graveyard. What should the last thing be? Alruns, okay. And opponent puts back the what? Puts back the Epiphany? Oh dear. Alright, let's see. So, Vorinclex, Liliana, is that the right order? No, that is fully the wrong order. Don't do it that way, folks. Hit the Vorinclex last, so it resolves first. And opponent says, with our Liliana on 8, says goodbye. Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, this hand seems fine. Like, it's not fantastic, but it'll do. We just need to draw lands, basically. And the deck has a lot of lands in it. Blood Crypt, Pay the Life, Stitcher Supplier. Oh, you'd much rather see the Stitcher Supplier rather than the Thoughtseize. Okay, that's not a land. Definitely need to draw a land here. Okay, so hits me for 1 with Stitcher Supplier. Gets rid of the Stitcher with the Village Rites. Mills some stuff. Draws a couple. Plays a land. Untapped, Pay the Life, Duress. Gets the Verdict. Oh, man. Ugh. Well, that's a tough spot now. I don't like my chances at this point. Just got duressed into next week. Young peasy. Target it with Claim the Firstborn. Give it haste. Make a Deuter. Oh dear. So, yeah. Cultivate for the land that we would have needed for Shadow's Verdict. Oh, well, we already had the black for Shadow's Verdict. Never mind. What now? Supplier. Another Pyromancer. Oh boy. Could have really used Shadow's Verdict here. Really could have used the Shadow's Verdict here, but what are you going to do? What do you think? Main deck Duress in addition to Thoughtseize, or main deck Duress because they don't have the Thoughtseize? Angrath's Rampage? Alright, you win. You win, opponent. You win. Not a lot of people run Angrath's Rampage in this deck. Oh no, it's in addition to Thoughtseize. It's Duress and Thoughtseize together. They're wanting those 6 discard effects, or those 8 discard effects, whatever it is. Yeah, I'm fully dead because they took my sweeper. So, feels bad. Alright, so 1 more, but this time it's the Yorion version. Opponent is going to open on Soul Warden, so this is the life gain deck. Some flavor of either mono white or green white. Opponent on 2 mana plays a second Plains. And their 2-drop is the Youthful Valkyrie. Okay, so this is the Angels Coco version that's everywhere on ladder these days. I'm going to play Explorer. I'm going to play out the Bark Channel on blue, on Tide Channel side. Opponent, there's their green mana that we thought that they had. Righteous Valkyrie, gain a couple. Just gain 1, rather. Alright, so Extinction Event on odd, I believe, is the play here. Bark Channel on green. Extinction Event odd. Drawing the Watery Grave feels good. Alright, what do you got, opponent? 4 mana. Soul Warden. What's next? Angel of Vitality? Alright, that's not that bad. You can get that with the Shadow's Verdict, so. Play the Watery Grave, pay the life. Shadow's Verdict, everything away, goodbye. Still have the binding if they have one last play in hand. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, all your stuff loves collected companies, so that's why Shadow's Verdict is good. Binding Wolf Willow onto the Bark channel. Looking good, feeling good. Here comes their last play. What's it going to be? Righteous Valkyrie? Alright. So I believe I have the exact amount of mana that I need to do this. Make sure I play out enough blue to do it. Yeah, if I buy the Yorion, then I still have 5. So, gonna blink this binding, and that'll be game. Yep. And I'm back with Sultai Emergent Ultimatum. This deck has really impressed me. The 80 card version in particular, I find to have an excellent number of ways when you do eventually cast Emergent Ultimatum. You have a lot of choices and a number of ways to attack the opponent. For example, say you want to get rid of a particular creature, you can pick 2 of your planeswalkers you know will be able to get rid of creatures. For example, Valky, and assuming that they don't have a huge wide board, something like Liliana. Or, failing that, if you wanted to get one in particular, you could grab Commit. But that way you know that you're going to be able to deal with that problem permanent or that problem creature, because Valky can minus and exile it, or Liliana can minus and they have to sacrifice that creature that's a problem. So you know that you're going to be able to deal with it, and then you'll set up from there with those creatures, those planeswalkers. Perhaps even they let you get Vorinclex in there. That one is really a powerful one when you are bringing in planeswalkers like Valky, like Liliana. Many opponents I find just always put back Liliana as opposed to Vorinclex. We will see occasionally, as we did in the videos that we saw here, where the person puts back Vorinclex. I get the Liliana, I get the Nissa. I mean, seems fine, right? Like, they're going to struggle to keep up with me at that point, as I'm really piling up resources off of those 2 planeswalkers, just immediately plussing them each. So I find that this deck is really powerful if you're able to survive to the late game. Obviously, there are decks in best of 1 like Mono Red that are more prominent than they are in the best of 3 metagame. So that's something to keep in mind if you do want to take this deck out for a best of 1 spin. Perhaps better suited to the best of 3 meta, this particular deck has really been gaining a metagame share as this standard season has worn on. And it seems like Sultai Emergent Ultimatum is going to be the port into Historic from this particular standard season. Just like we saw Rogues being ported over into Historic, although that's kind of fallen off a little bit more recently. Zendikar Rising Standard Season did also see that one very powerful deck be ported over to Historic, where it picked up a few extra tools, as this one does, as it passes into the Historic format. So being able to grab things like Nissa, being able to have things on there like Explore in the Historic format is a really nice particular pickup for this deck. And I think it is very adaptable to the Historic format because it has such a high power level. And that really goes to show the high power level of Standard as well at this point. So it seems like this one's going to be a sticking point. It is something that's going to be around in Historic for a while. And let's get used to it because, Sultai Emergent Ultimatum is a very powerful archetype in Historic as it is in Standard. That is going to do it for this week's feature. Thank you so much for watching the video. I wanted to also shout out Arjuna from the ArenaCraft podcast. Thank you so much for working on the deck when it was first coming out, and also really appreciate you picking my question to be answered back on the March 15th episode of the ArenaCraft podcast. So shout out to them at that podcast, all the crafties who are listening. Shout out to you, and thank you very much for checking out the video this week. This is Evil Empire saying see you next week, signing off.